So today we are talking about embracing your power, overcoming obstacles, and the will to power. And this is something that I want to talk about today because guess what? The world is in a shitty place and there are a lot of obstacles to overcome, both personally and collectively. You know, whether that's in your personal life, dealing with goals that you want to achieve or anxiety, and then collectively as well with regard to, the billionaire class destroying the world and, hunger and religion and all these terrible things. There's a lot of obstacles to overcome, both personally and collectively. And the thing is that we are systems of energy ourselves. That's what we are. Okay, we know that we are not just our bodies, we are not our avatars, but we are eternal minds, eternal monadic souls. And what are we? We are systems of energy with the capacity for power. So really what we are and what our purpose is to maximize our power, configure our energy optimally, as optimal as possible to maximize our power, maximize ourself, maximize our actualization, and maximize our expression. And I want to talk about this today. I'm going to tell you a little about my story, which probably some of you are familiar with, but for those who are new, I want to talk about it. And there's a lot of things I've had to overcome in my life, such as RTS, religious trauma syndrome. I've had to overcome a phobia of needles and a phobia of public speaking. And the way to do that is through the will to power. And there's a lot to go on and talk about. Maybe I'll do another video on this at some time because there's just so much to talk about. But I'm going to try and break this down as quickly as possible. But basically when it came down to it, I had these phobias, right? I had these phobias of hypodermic needles. I had these phobias of public speaking. And the way to get over them is through exercising one's will to power. Now, when I was, going through all this, like public speaking, I wanted to be a performer. For those who don't know, I am a performance artist, okay? Like I said, during our secret live stream, I'm going to be swallowing a sword. Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. I've been doing it for years and years and years. I am a professional. But when I was getting started, I wanted to be this performer, but I had an intense phobia of public speaking. And I tried all these different self-help things, all these different NLP tools and psychological methods. And guess what? They helped a little bit. But what really allows one to overcome is tapping into one's will to power, putting one's nose to the grindstone, and using one's sheer will to overcome. Now, don't get me wrong. These psychological methods are helpful. NLP can be very, very helpful. But there comes a time when one has to step out of just these exercises and out of one's comfort zone and into the fire. And this is why even we say peraspera ad astra. It's through your struggle to the stars. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. And again, if I were just trying to be popular, I wouldn't be talking about this. I would be telling you, oh yeah, just think what you want and the universe will provide. Yeah, law of attraction. Just if you envision it every day, it'll happen. Yeah, you see the number 1111? That's the universe telling you that you're going to get checks in the mail and your love life's going to be perfect. No, here's the deal. If you want your life to change, yes, you do have to set an intention. You do need to set your intention and you do need to focus on it. But you also have to insert will as well. Without that will, you are sitting in the water. You're dead in the water. This is what it's like. If you are in a car and you want to get to some place, you need to have a destination, and that's you setting your intention. But guess what? If you don't have fuel in that car, you're just going to sit there all day. It doesn't matter if you have an intention. So you see all these new age ideas like law of attraction and all these different new ideas about setting your intention. They totally ignore will. And so you need both. You need intention and will. Because if you're sitting in a car, your intention is where you need to go. And if you don't have fuel in the car, you're never going to get there. It doesn't matter if you know where you're going to go, you're never going to get there. But likewise, if you don't know where you're going and you have tons of fuel, well, you'll never get anywhere either because you don't have a place that you're trying to arrive at. So you'll just be driving in different circles, going in different places. And then, this is when you see, people who just sort of run in circles and they try a bunch of different things and they're trying out all this different stuff. But they're still unfulfilled. They don't really know what they're doing or why they're doing. doing it. They have a lot of, drive, but they're not driving anywhere. So you need both. You need both intention and will. If you're missing one or the other, you're shit out of luck. You have to have both. And once again, people don't like the will part. People don't like, because that's an extremely difficult part. And so, like I said, my intention was I wanted to be a performer, and what was my obstacle that I needed to overcome was that I had a fear of public speaking. So what did I do? What did I do was this is where you now inject the will and per aspera ad astra through struggle to the stars. What I did was I began public speaking as much as I possibly could. I took classes on public speaking, which made you get up in front of people and give presentations. I began doing open mic nights as often as possible in coffee shops and other locations like that. And I began doing street performing. I would get on the street, perform in front of crowds of people. And so I was doing this where I was getting in front of crowds and crowds of people at least 3 times a week, if not more. And that's the thing, is when you go out there and you do it again and again and again and again and again and again, and you insert will, this is how you're going to start to overcome your obstacles and achieve your goals, as long as you know how to get there. Again, I used to be terrified of public speaking. Now I am more comfortable on a stage in front of, hundreds or thousands of people than I am, one-on-one conversations or small conversations. And the reason why is because when I'm in front of thousands of people, I can 100% be expressive of who I am and what I am. When I'm in a small group setting, you have to follow, it becomes very, when I'm dealing with, say, normal people, I have to run this sort of simulation in my mind, like, what do normal people talk about? Because I can't exactly start talking about Hegel and the phenomenology of spirit and, ontological mathematics and Fourier transforms when I'm, like, with a couple of, it just, I might as well be talking another language. They won't know what I'm talking about. So anyways, but that is, let me know if you can relate to that. I'm sure many of you can relate to this. But the point is that sheer will is necessary, coupled with intention. And that's the thing that you're not going to be told when you go to, like these new age ideas and whatnot. They cut out the will part completely because it's hard work. And again, I had another phobia of hypodermic needles. Just needles. So if I would get a vaccination at the doctor, I'm just pausing now because great, I said the V word. Now social media is probably going to flag my video. Oh my God, he said the V word. If I would get a shot at the doctor's, I would pass out. It was that bad, just a minor shot. I would pass out. And so what I did was I began piercing myself every single day to get over that. And then I ended up doing, in my performance art, insane deep tissue piercings when it would go through the center of the bicep or, underneath the tongue and out the bottom of the chin. Overcame this completely. And remember, disclaimer, do not try this at home, okay? Do not do that. It's extremely dangerous. You will hurt yourself, possibly die. I'm a professional. Don't try that. Don't pierce yourself, okay? I gotta say that disclaimer. But the point is that it's through will and determination. And one needs to realize that they are a powerful entity. And you have that power to overcome the obstacles in your life, even if you don't feel like it. You need to change your mindset because you have the power to overcome. It might not seem like it, but you do. You need to set your intention, and then you need to apply that will to power to overcome all obstacles in your way. And whether these are, things in your life dealing with anxiety or goals you want to achieve, always have a clear direction, a clear path, a clear goal, and then have the will to start taking the steps to climb that mountain to reach the summit. you need both. You need a place you're trying to get to, and then you need to have the will to begin that climb to get there. And this all wraps up with Friedrich Nietzsche's idea of the world being will to power. He says the world is will to power and nothing besides, which basically Nietzsche, very core to Nietzsche's idea, is that the world itself is this system of energy that is seeking to actualize its power. And so, for example, Charles Darwin's, we have the theory of evolution, and the theory of evolution is about survival. But Nietzsche said, no, it's not about survival. It's not just about survival. It's about power. It's not about survival, it's about power. And you can see this today very, very clearly. So in the early stages of evolution, it seems like it's about survival. And the reason why that it seems like it's about survival is because, well, you have to be alive to have power. Survival is sort of the first step. It's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to be alive to be able to achieve greater things. You need to be alive to be able to maximize your power. So in the early stages of evolution, it seems like it's about survival, and it is about survival, but that's just the first stage on maximizing your power, because if you're dead, you can't maximize your power. But we see this today. Evolution has not stopped with human beings. Evolution continues. Now look at humanity today. Is everyone trying to survive and that's it? No. A great many people are, because this is an effed up world, and many of us are still on that level in this crazy, crazy world where we're just trying to survive. But there are many other, look at, like the billionaire class. Are they just trying to survive? No, they're trying to maximize their power. If you look at, different artists and just thinkers, and just look at people in general. People aren't simply just trying to survive. Again, many are, because we lived in an effed up world. But if we are in a position where we can do more than that, we are going to try to maximize our power. And the problem here now becomes that even though everyone is trying to maximize their power, people have internally defined what power is differently. And they're each stuck in a different reality tunnel that has applied a different concept and a different definition to power. So, for example, someone who follows a mainstream religion, their idea of maximizing their power will be to align themselves with the Creator God, because for them, the Creator God is the most powerful being. So to maximize their power, well, they're going to ally themselves with the Creator God. Now, for like a billionaire, to them, money is the most is their definition of power. So they're trying to get as much money as possible. For someone else, maybe taking care of the earth is power to them. So everyone will define power differently, subjectively, but everyone is trying to maximize this. Now, what we need to do is to what one needs to do is to accurately conform their definition of power to what power actually is objectively. So what is power truly? True power is personal and collective actualization. That's what true power is. True power isn't money. True power isn't, trying to please a god in the sky. True power isn't, even doing good deeds or anything like that. What true power is personal and collective actualization. And that means becoming the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, the most actualized, the most expressed version of yourself that you can possibly be, and creating a world society, and ultimately a universal society, not just a world society, but ultimately a universal society. That is the best possible universal society that it can possibly be. So it's about personal and collective actualization, fulfillment of what you are, taking what is potential and making it actual, making what is inside and externalizing it and bringing it out for the world to see and making it real rather than just a potentiality. That is what true power is. And how do we know this? We know this based on what reality is. It all comes down to ontology. We know that we are eternal mathematical minds, monadic minds, in a system, a collective system, the source. And so we are systems of mathematical frequency patterns that are continuously trying to optimize their own internal patterns into the most perfect pattern possible. And what this means, that's what we are ontologically, eternal systems of energy that are seeking to maximize its internal configurations to the best possible, most symmetric configuration. What that translates to is self-actualization, becoming the best possible you that you can possibly be, the best possible you can possibly be, and creating the best possible world that we can possibly create. Because the better the world, the better the individuals. The better the individuals, the better the world. It's a feedback loop, as above, so below. And so what we need to do is we have all manner of conflicts in the world because people are trying to maximize their power, but they don't know what power is. And that's why you get into all these conflicts. We have wars, people fighting over, well, is it, about money? Is it about God? Is it about this, about that? So it's really important. It is critically important that we all understand what power is objectively, and so that we can take steps to actualize that power, all being on the same page. And that's what's necessary in this world that is so full of discordance and disarray and chaos, to begin to create a more harmonious world, and so that we can create the most powerful world. And so what I really want you guys to do is realize, okay, always remember that you need to have your intention and you need to have that will to overcome obstacles. But I want you to realize, don't feel like you're powerless. This world tries to make you feel powerless at every turn. Capitalism tells you you're nothing but a cog in a machine, a commodity to be bought and sold. Religion tells you you're worthless, dirty, flawed sinner. Scientific materialism says you're nothing but a collection of random atoms destined to die in the earth. No. BS. Realize that you are powerful. You are a system of eternal energy on its way to becoming God. You are a divine being whose purpose is to achieve apotheosis, to become a God, and for us to become a collective God. So never let this world make you feel powerless. Never let this world make you feel down. Because the truth is that you are divine with infinite potential, and your very purpose is to actualize that potential and make it known to the world, to everyone, to every entity in existence. So never feel powerless, never feel, but I know it's hard because this world, Nietzsche talks about this as well, that basically what happened is that you had a bunch of weak individuals who felt powerless themselves, and in order to make themselves try and feel more powerful, what they did was they turned weakness into a virtue. And this is why you're going to see this everywhere today. Guess what people do? They praise people for being humble and meek, and condemn, what do they condemn? They condemn pride. They condemn having a strong ego. The meek will inherit the earth. So weakness is praised. Now, there is nothing wrong with humility. There is nothing wrong with a quality like that. Nothing wrong with it at all. But there's a time and a place for everything. Remember, in Hyperionism, we are both light and dark. We are the sun and the eclipse. We are the star and the abyss. We combine all polarities. We don't deny one aspect or another. So there is nothing wrong with being powerful. There is nothing wrong in having pride in what you do. And of course, one should have and cultivate a very strong ego, a very strong sense of I. It's very important. It's critical. And of course, there's nothing wrong with being humble as well. When it is necessary, when there's a time and a place for it. And you also don't want pride to to go out of control either, or else you become a psychopath. And you'll be a narcissistic psychopath. So it's not, again, remember, it's not like one is right, one is wrong. These are just elements that we have to be put into place when it calls for it. And yes, so this world at every turn will try and make you feel weak, lesser than, powerless, inconsequential. Oh, you're just, you hear this all the time. You're just a little speck in the universe. It doesn't matter. Nothing you do matters. You're just a little tiny blip in the universe. Bullshit. You are the center of the universe. Each and every one of us is the creator of this world, of this universe. We are the creators and the destroyers. We are the centers of the universe. We are the core on which everything, the entire universe itself, depends on us for its existence. Without us, there would be nothing. So don't let this world make you feel powerless. You are the epitome of a system of energy seeking to actualize and maximize its power. So I know this world, tries to get you down all the time, but don't feel down. Think about what you want to achieve. Understand what power is. It's self-actualization. Think about how best you want to go about actualizing yourself. Set that intention and then inject your will, inject your power into it to go forward and achieve that and become the best version of yourself that you can possibly become. And then help us as a collective, the Hyperion community, to create a world, a collective world that is optimized to actualize the power of every single one of its citizens. And that is why we will create a society of the divine. That's what we mean when we will create a society of the divine. It's not the meek that shall inherit the earth. It is the powerful, the Hyperions, those who are higher, the divine, that shall create a new earth. And that's why it's our goal to create new Terra.